Hi guys, my name is Noni Matigela from my YouTube channel. Wow. Hi guys, my name is Noni Matigela from Noni M Podcast. Okay, welcome to my YouTube channel, guys. Today I want us to talk about Usibiya, Shadrack Sibiya on this video. He appeared in front of the ad hoc committee, guys. That was Monday, the 13th of October. Wow, what a wow, guys. What a wow. Yo! That's what I can say. Yo! Have you ever listened to someone and be thinking, does he have kids? Is he married? We do. How are they at home? What's going on here? Yo, 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 yo. Let's get into this video, sana. Maske sithi nje qaba ntshintshi kwizinto zakhe. One of the things that I think, wow, wow, like I'm so shocked, you know? I'm so shocked. Let's do key pointers, things that happened. Yeah. Usibiya stood as the first Usibiya stood there. Yes, guys. He's here to defend himself, man. He's the first defendant. Hey, he is the first defendant. Kolama allegations, ne? Yay. So, you guys already know that the parliament has established an ad hoc committee to investigate allegations of corruption and undue interference in the criminal justice system. We already know this. These were made by KwaZulu-Natal Commissioner, let's say Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. Amongst the allegations, he said that CBI is said to have pushed for the disbandment of the political killing stars team, attempted to transfer 121 dockets from that unit to other offices, and possibly intervened improperly in investigations and law enforcement oversight. These are the allegations by Mkhwanazi on the 6th of July 2025. So after that, things that happened, Sibiya got suspended from the position of Deputy National Police Commissioner for Crime Detention. Just before appearing before the ad hoc committee, his house was searched and some of his devices, three mobile phones, some of his, with one laptop, were seized under a search and seizure warrant. Sibiya claims that was meant to frustrate him and interfere with his prep for the ad hoc committee, for the ad hoc committee and the Madlanga Commission. He has raised a formal objection under protest to certain members of the ad hoc committee participating on the ground that some MPs are complainants in cases opened against him, which he said might be a conflict of interest. He said he will proceed nonetheless, but that matter of conflict will be discussed with Parliament Speaker. So that's the morning glory of what happened Monday morning there. So during his testimony, he denied involvement in crime. He denied meeting with DRUG lords, etc., saying he has heavy workload that allegations are baseless, and he wants to present his side of the story. And then, number one of the things that happened for me, he spoke about that conflict of interest and objected to certain committee members as he was starting his testimony. He was lodging a formal complaint because they are there on the other side by Mbopisa, and then here they want to come and question him. So after deliberation, after camera, the committee allowed him to proceed for the time being. The conflict complaint was referred for discussion with Parliament's Speaker at a later stage. The second thing, allegations were being addressed now. The committee is investigating allegations by Mkhwanazi. We would remember that. In prior testimony, Umasemula testified that Sibiya brought a letter from Minister Senzo Mchunu to disband the political killing stars team and asked for his signature. Masemula said he did not agree to immediate disbandment. Usibiya's testimony is his chance to respond to those specific allegations. The third thing, procedural and contextual remarks. Usibiya said he would proceed he would proceed with his testimony, but that his participation was under protest because of his objection about the members that were complainants in the cases that are allegedly opened. The committee's hearing was scheduled for 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. The ad hoc committee meeting for his testimony was set for 13 October 2025 at 11 a.m. in Parliament Good Hope Building. It was to be live streamed via YouTube or Parliament TV. So that's how people were to watch it. So those are the things that and anyway, people have been talking about the entire situation. So public comments prior to his appearance, Sibiya said he felt under pressure and under siege, alleging that the seizure of his electronic devices by police was aimed at disrupting his preparations. He also said the process of summons was unclear and resisted suggestion that he had been summoned before the committee prematurely. Some of the things that were said is that sorry guys, one of the things that uSibiya, like, he was asked about, I said I'm doing uqabaqaba. He was asked if he knows uMatlala, she knows uMokgotsi, he knows uSenzo Mchunu. He said yes, but had explanations when it comes to that. He had explanations when it comes to that. Uh, that is why I'm asking, who is he married to? Does he have a wife? I think he does. Does he have kids? I think he does. But hey, guys, this entire situation is embarrassing to the core. It's embarrassing to the core. I'm telling you. uSibiya yesterday showed us Flames shame. He showed us Flames. I don't want to lie. He frustrated me. Anyway, he was asked about Matlala. He says that the nature of a relationship or acquaintanceship between them. uSibiya said he did not have a personal relationship with Matlala. They were not friends. He described Matlala as a stakeholder, and a service provider known to SAPS. Especially because Matlala's company held a healthcare contract connected to the SAPS College and ran a hospital there. Their interactions have been very limited. He said they've met only a few times, about 5 times or fewer, and only in formal context. And the second thing was a meeting and tender issue that was raised. He says around February 2024, when Sibiya was acting national commissioner, Matlala and his attorney arranged a meeting with Sibiya. Matlala complained that even though he had won a tender, a healthcare contract, he was unable to access the facility to deliver on it. The use of a building or facility he was awarded for. Matlala presented a letter of demand to the National Commissioner Masemula via Sibiya about his access issue. Sibiya tabled that letter in the hearing. His role and involvement. Sibiya said his role was limited to give feedback on what had transpired after Matlala raised the issue. He consulted with the National Commissioner. The resolution or lack thereof was that Public Works would not tell SAPS how to use its building. So the tender process continued despite Matlala's access complaint. Other related issues to the situation, there was a mention of WhatsApp messages alleging linking Sibiya to conversation between Brown Mokgotsi and Kate Matlala, including meetings with Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. Sibiya said he was uncertain about the legitimacy of those messages, that they would need to be verified or investigated. He distanced himself from them. He insisted that any engagement with Matlala had been professional, formally, not informally or personal. That was what he said. He was then asked about uMokgotsi. He was asked then about uMokgotsi. He was asked about Brown Mokgotsi. This is what he had to say about Brown Mokgotsi. Like, guys, he frustrated the hell out of me. I do not want to lie. He frustrated the hell out of me. Usibia, this is what he said. He said he knows him, but only limitedly. Sibia admitted that he knows Brown Mukhotsi, describing him as an activist from Northwest. They have met in person only twice. He was asked about phone calls and communication. Mukhotsi contacted Sibia via a phone. He also warned Sibia that crime intelligence was investigating him. Sibia said he did not block Mukhotsi's calls because sometimes people with information, even those he does not know well, can provide useful intelligence. About the meetings, one occasion was during the ANC's 8th January anniversary event in Cape Town. Sibia said Mukhotsi came to greet him at a hotel. Sibia told the committee that Mukhotsi once asked him to pay for a restaurant bill when they met, but he refused, saying he didn't know him well enough to take that responsibility. On allegations of WhatsApp messages, there are WhatsApp messages alleged presented in the other forums, such as crime intelligence, heard to Misani Kumalo statements that suggested that Mukhotsi claimed Sibia was involved in disbanding the political killings task team or in the removal of the 121 dockets. Sibia said that while he does not dispute the existence of those messages, he doubts their authenticity or at least believes they require further verification by experts. I was dead when it comes to this part. Yeah, but when it comes to this part, I was dead. Nature of their relationship, he insisted their relationship is not personal or close, but professional or formal, largely around information sharing or calls from Mukhotsi. He stressed that he does not work with information in his capacity as Deputy National Commissioner, and sometimes individuals like Mukhotsi may reach out with intelligence or warnings. Sibia. He was also asked about Senzo Mchunu. He was also asked about Senzo Mchunu, guys. That very question I did not understand. I don't know, like maybe I'm dumb. From the terms of reference, gave testimony of others, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and Fanny Masemla, several allegations were raised that implicate Senzo Mchunu, some in connection with Shadrack Sibia. On core allegation is that Minister of Police Senzo Mchunu issued a directive to disband the political killings task team, or at least to remove 121 case dockets from it. The allegations is that Sibia acted as in execution of or in support of that ministerial directive, or attempted to do that, even when others, e.g. Masemla, were resistant. He did that. So what did he say about his response concerning Senzo Mchunu? Number one, he maintains that his relationship with Mchunu is professional and not personal. Sibia said he had not met Senzo Mchunu before Mchunu was appointed Minister of Police. When referencing his interactions with Mukhotsi and Matlala, Sibia explicitly denied that Mukhotsi had arranged any meetings on behalf of Mchunu with him, or that he, Sibia, had ever sat in such a meeting. Second thing that he said, on ministerial directive about the political killings task team and dockets, Sibia was asked whether he was acting on the directive from Mchunu to disband the political killings task team. He was also questioned about the removal of the 121 case dockets from political killings task team, which is alleged to have been done on behalf or due to Mchunu's instruction. He reported to have contended that although certain meetings and instructions were brought to his attention, he didn't necessarily agree with all of them. And in several cases, he was pushing back or insisting on following due procedure. For example, Masemla, when testifying, said he opposed immediate disbandment when presented by Sibia with the directive from Mchunu. On being a middleman or front for Mchunu, Sibia was asked about claims or WhatsApp message allegations that he was acting as a middleman or implementing Mchunu's directive in ways that bypassed proper oversight. He denied that he was directly carrying out improper orders. In particular, the mail that he was sending around is what was needed at the time. Yo! That's severe for you. Anyways, guys, that's what happened. Okay. Some of the things that happened, I may not covered all of them, but he frustrated the hell out of me. What are your thoughts when it comes to Sibiya and his testimony or defense the first day? Shadrach Sibiya. Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.